I walk outside, it's a motherfucking motion picture.
You remember we was on set of the same movie at the same time. You know when we were filming the what do you call the house party?
Oh yeah, the LeBron James movie.
Yeah, yeah. They had you come in there and do a part with LeBron.
Yeah, they had me coming there, slap the nigga hand, smoke some dope, and ride out.
How you living though, man?
I'm good, Druski, man. I'm slow motion, man. Just taking it day by day, you know.
That's good. That's good, my nigga. You know, I wanted to bring you in here so we could chop business, man. You know, you one of the top moguls in the game, in the world, really. You know what I'm saying? You one of the most famous faces in the world. You up there with Shaq.
Mm.
You can't go a damn place without somebody running into you, man. How does that feel?
You know what? It's a beautiful feeling knowing that you can achieve great things when you up against the odds. So for people to love me and appreciate me, that's all I ever do is try to give love and try to put it in the air. So when I get it back, it's very well received and I appreciate it. But at the same time, it's like this the shit I do on a regular. You know what I'm saying? This is just me at
Mhm.
all times. It's not like I gotta put on a mask or put on an act to try to become who I am. I'm just me at all times, and to get the love back is what it's supposed to be because I usually put it out there.
Yeah, that's real. How you link up with Martha Stewart, man? That might be random as fuck, but I just gotta ask because I've been one to ask you that.
On some real shit, I had done like she had called me to do her cooking show one year for like the holidays, and we made some and I was like, that's cool.
Nigga, brownies,
Yeah,
brownies.
yeah, nigga, some brownies, nigga. Then and then like, it was Justin Bieber's roast, cuz. So Justin
Mhm.
Bieber called me and he was like, I want you to be on my roast, Unc. I'm like, man, I don't want to roast you. I love you too much. He's like, no, I want you to be on, man. It's gonna be you, Kevin Hart, Martha Stewart. I'm like, all right, fuck it, I'll do it. And then nigga set me right next to her. So while we was doing it, I'm smoking dope the whole motherfucking show. She getting the secondhand contact. So by the time she get up there and do her jokes, she knock it out the park. So now me and her chopping it up afterwards. And I'm like, we should fuck with each other. You know what I'm saying? I get down with you. You know what I'm saying? I like your shit. And all of the hood girls really love you too. Let's figure something out. And we just exchanged numbers and chopped it up and came up with a show idea. And we've been rocking and rolling ever since. We done wine deals, big commercials, Doritos. Well, I get a lot of bread when I'm with her. Hello.
Yeah, man.
So,
Go ahead, Crystal, if you got anything.
of course, so Snoop, with you being like such an icon and a legend, how do you decide who you do business with? Like, what are some of the pinnacles on who you will do business with versus who you won't? Is everybody fair game as long as the price is right? Like, what is your stance on that?
Well, first of all, I gotta like really like the product or like the person or like the brand. And then the most important thing is that it's fun and that it makes funds. So the same word is involved, fun and funds. I just put the DS on the end. Doggy
Yeah,
style.
yeah. I respect that. So tell me this. I always wanted to ask you, like, how do you select, like, let's say, I think I came to you and we talked about like how you go into like acting and like when you go into these roles and stuff. How do you select like what's a good commercial to do, what's not a good commercial? Because I see you do so many. You and Shaq, y'all do so many different commercials and stuff. Like, how do you know when this is a good opportunity or when it's time to like turn stuff down? Because sometimes I don't know when to turn stuff down, but I feel like I got a good eye for it. But I've seen you do it for so long and the best way. So how do you feel like you?
Well, you know, Druski, a long time ago when I was a young aspiring actor, and I didn't really know shit about Hollywood. I just wanted to be in movies and shit. I was just happy the niggas was calling. So I was in like a bunch of B-level garbage ass movies, and I had a conversation with Ice Cube, and he was like, "Dog, you gotta say no to some shit, homie. You can't just say yeah to everything because they calling you for it. First of all, it gotta fit who you are. It's gotta elevate you, and it's gotta financially get you in a better position." So that information gave me, a different opposition, a different optics on what I was doing as far as in the acting world. Like to start pick better shit to do. No, I can't do that. There's not a quality director connected to that. No, there's not no good actors connected to that. No, I can't do it. And if you notice, if you watch my career, I started getting better on screen and I started getting better roles and I started becoming like when I'm in a movie, you know I'm in a movie. Because even if it's for 3 minutes, I'm gonna be so serious about my acting, about my look, about my character to where I'm not gonna come to the set like a fucking rapper. I'm gonna come to the set like a bona fide actor.
Yeah. You was telling me you like to learn other people that you're talking to in the script. You like to learn their words and their role as well.
Yeah, so what I was saying was when I was explaining that to you, like for example, if me, you, and LT and Crystal and Lisa was in the scene, I would learn everybody's fucking lines. So when we get to the set, it's just a conversation with me now. I'm just waiting on you to say your part so I can fill in the blanks or either, make it a little bit different by adding my spices to it. And if you do decide to change it, I'm so up on your lines that it don't even matter. You can go off script. And that's one of the things that I like to, bring to the table as an actor to when the directors get me on the set and say in action, and a nigga know all his lines and know when they supposed to come in, and it's like, damn, we need to get this nigga some more lines. Because that's usually what happens with me. I get a movie role, and they'll probably write me in for like 4 or 5 days. And then after I show up on screen and they do a test and they put it out there, oh, we need this nigga in a few more scenes. And that's when the price double up.
It always
That's
come back to that
dope.
price, nigga.
Hey, man, don't blame Fat Joe. He the one that said it. Yesterday's price ain't the same. And he said it. I'm just living by it.
Damn right. Damn right.
Snoop, so how did your role as Rodney come up in Baby Boy?
Good question.
John Singleton was a dear friend of mine. Uh, believe it or not, Tupac was supposed to be Jody. So it was supposed to be a me and Tupac movie. And when he got to the point of picking Tyrese, he still had me in mind. And then when he told me he was doing it, he was like, I still got that role for you, but it's gonna be with Tyrese. You still down? I'm like, hell yeah, I'm down. I'm like, what I gotta do? He's like, you gonna be the worst nigga on screen, but they gonna love you. I'm like, all right, fuck it, let's go. So we put that shit together. I said I gotta have my hair gotta be a certain way. I need my shit, because if my character is like this, I feel like I can bring this to the character to make him a little bit more believable. So he enabled me to, add my spices to it, and we did that. And I feel like that's a classic movie. Rest in peace, John Singleton.
Definitely a classic. So the Super Bowl is coming to LA. That's a big moment. And you are going to be a part, which is only right for you to be a part of that big moment of the Super Bowl coming to LA and the halftime show. How do you feel about that? Like, are there any details you could share with us? How does this rank in terms of like big moments in your career? Like, how do you feel about it?
I mean, I'm honored. I'm happy because I've been watching the Super Bowl since I was a little ass kid, and to just think that I'm actually gonna be in the middle of the football field where somebody's gonna be crowned the Super Bowl champ. Like I'm a sports guy. That shit mean more to me on the sports tip than to do on the rap tip, and I'm just being honest. So as a rapper, like I've done big arenas, big stages, but never in front of a fucking billion people at one time. So it's kind of like I would say it's like nervous on my behalf, but I think it's anxious. I'm more anxious than anything to get up there and do what I do. And I would like to share some information with you, but I haven't been given any information.
Crystal, can I
That's
ask?
yeah, go ahead, Lisa.
Hey, Snoop, I wanted to ask you. You've kind of done like you know what I mean that goes around all the time, like Snoop is in everything. Um, but after acting, rapping, brands, partnerships, like, what is it something you want to do in your career? Like, do you have a bucket list, or do you just have something you want to do in life in general that you haven't had a chance, whether it was a booking and you had to do it for an infomercial or something, just something you want to do before, you know,
Well,
I don't want to use that word, but yeah.
the thing that I want to do that I haven't done since I've been in the industry that I really, really want to do is take a 30-day vacation.
Nice.
I ain't never took a vacation. I've been like, since I've been in the game, I've kept my foot on the gas pedal. Like, I worked through holidays, I worked through birthdays, I worked through. It's like if they didn't throw birthday parties for me and all these types of things they do, I would be working like a motherfucker. I ain't that type of motherfucker that like gotta have this happen. I'm more focused on. I thank God that I got a job and I got a
Mhm.
job that I love doing, and I got a job that people love me for doing. Like that's a blessing because
Right.
I know people that got college degrees and all kind of shit that they went to school for and got a job and frustrated and don't like going to work and don't like the people that they work with. Me, I didn't go to college and none of that shit. I followed my dream. I fell in love with my job, and my job fell in love with me.
Yeah. All right. Now, why you do that
Right. And
Bollywood
Chris, if you don't
film,
mind
man?
following up with that.
That's what I
Why?
want.
Well, at
Yeah.
that time, they gave me $3 million, and
3 mil?
you tell me if a nigga, you tell me a nigga give you $3 million to be in a
Damn,
movie
nigga,
that
I'm
you
on the
ain't.
first flight out, nigga. I might take Spirit, nigga.
Thank you. See, that's every time a nigga say something about, hey man, why you was? I throw that number out there. Nigga say, why you didn't call me?
Nah, that's crazy. Nah,
Nah,
I fuck with that.
I got an Indian dude on my team telling me, and he was like, Snoop, man, the Bollywood industry is gigantic, man. Their movies are huge. It's a billion people, over a billion people in India. They fucking
Yep,
love
yep.
you. This actor, Jay Kumar, they
Yeah,
want you to be a part of it. Like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll get in, sing his
yeah,
Hmm.
movie.
Sing is
I,
King.
You
yeah, let's
seen Slumdog Millionaire?
Yes, with
fuck yeah.
Oh my
I was
god, one
I
of
was
my favorite
a
movies.
millionaire.
That's dope. So, okay, I just want to circle back real quick to what Lisa said because now I'm curious. What is the longest vacation that you've ever taken since you've had your career, Snoop?
What is that word? Vacation. Like,
Yeah,
like that's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Like, I ain't never went nowhere and just kicked up my feet and lived in the sand for 4 days and ordered food and not have my phone with me, not have to have no obligations. That's a vacation, right?
that would be a vacation.
I don't
Same.
know.
I don't do that type of shit either, man. It feels uncomfortable when you do it. You feel like you're missing out on something.
Right. And because that's because we got that grind about us that
Yeah,
we've been given a position. Like my thing was this when I was a kid, when the newspaper man came around and was like, anybody want to sell newspapers? I jumped in the van with the nigga and went and sold newspapers. Then the next year, a white dude came by in the van with candy. We selling candy. I jumped in the truck with that nigga and rolled out and learned how to sell candy. But it showed me skills, door to door skills to be able to, communicate, network, and all of that shit. Them same people skills that I have now.
that's what's up.
Yeah, that's super dope. So in terms of like younger artists now and like the access that they have, whether that be by way of social media or just being able to even put out your music differently than how it was when you were coming up. Snoop, what do you think are some things that either you feel like it gives an advantage to like today's younger artists versus what are some of the disadvantages of having that level of access?
I think the advantage that it gives is that you can learn how to do business at an early age. You can understand what money is and understand financial literacy, at an early age by taking a collision course in the industry. I think the disadvantages. Let me see. I think they don't get a chance to be up close and personal the way we were able to. Like when I dropped my first record, I went to sing like 100 radio stations and VJs and DJs and pulling up on TV shows and autograph signings and all of that shit. Now it's like drop your album and put out a text message and reach your fans, but not really touch your fans. I come from an era where my fans hug me, took pictures with me, and it's moments. It's like if people pull out pictures from the '90s of me and them, it's me and my fans up close and personal. And I feel like nowadays the fans are digital and they're not as personal as they need to be, and that's a disadvantage.
That makes a lot of sense. Did anybody else? I don't want us to hog it either. Is there anybody else on stage that wanted to ask Snoop a question?
And I do have one more, so just throw me back in.
Go
Yeah,
ahead, Lisa.
I have one too. This honey.
All right, go. You could go, Lisa, then Honey, then MJ.
Okay,
I
Snoopy. So
what?
I wanted to ask you. I know it's probably like a lot of artists in here as well. Given today's time, would you prefer after everything you've done, would you have still wanted to be a rapper first, or is everything that you've done, would you what lane would you have wanted to start out, and then what is something that you could have told your younger self in regards to you getting into the industry when you started out? Like, what do you notice that you could have done things differently, or do you accept what you did in the beginning and you think that was the way to go?
the answer for all of the questions is I wouldn't change a motherfucking thing about
Yeah.
my none of that shit. It made me who I am. It showed me how to be sharp. It showed me how to, take losses. It showed me how to love people when people hated me. It showed me how to be a stronger person. So everything I went through was a lesson and a blessing to me. So I just feel like everybody got their own, part to play in this life. And you just got to live it to the fullest and understand everything that happened to you was God's plan.
That's a word. Honey, you want to go?
Yeah, I wanted to ask two questions. The first one is, when did you fall in love with hip hop and rap?
I fell in love with hip hop in I think it was 1979 or 1980. It was the Sugar Hill Gang, and then it was another song that came out after that by an artist named Jimmy Spicer. His song was called Super Rhyme. And then it was just a bunch of shit just came out. And I just fell in love with that shit. That shit was fun to watch, fun to listen to. It was like superheroes. It's like a lot of people watch Star Wars and all that kind of shit. I ain't never seen a motherfucking episode of Star Wars. But I can tell you every episode of hip hop.
And one more question is, who was the most person, who was like the biggest person that you looked up to as a kid growing up, when you seen them on TV and you was like, I want to be like, I want to do this, I want to be like them when I grow up.
That's crazy because I got a chance to meet him and I got a chance to hang out with him and chill with him. And we one night we got into an altercation with some people that was on another label at the time, and we was about to do some harm to him. And this particular person I'm talking about looked over the balcony and he looked at me and he put his hand in his fist and he said like no. And we didn't do nothing to the dude that night and we let him ride. And then later on in life, his grandson and my son went to the same high school, so we used to go to games together, share blankets, and just sit in the crowd together and chop it up. I'm talking about the great Muhammad Ali.
Wow, thank you so much for answering that question.
Yeah,
That was
what the
really
fuck?
inspirational. Wow.
I have a quick one.
Go ahead, babe.
Hey, thank you so much for being here. I love Snoop, how you've poured into the voice acting community on Clubhouse. I know El Michelle partnered with you. She's a friend of mine, and we just love hearing about that project and listening to it. So thank you so much for being here. My question is about those decisions that you make early in your career that are still paying off. So if you can kind of think back, what are either habits that you put into practice? I think you've been talking a lot about your work ethic, but were there any other like decisions, things you said yes to, things you said no to, things you started doing, stopped doing, that you feel like are still paying off for you right now?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Like I said, that conversation I had with Ice Cube, I had great conversations with Charlie Wilson from the Gap Band, and then I had about a 3 hour conversation one night with James Brown. He pulled up to my house, and me and him had a long conversation, and he gave me the path that I'm on now because I was nowhere near where I'm at now. And after the conversation I had with him, it just felt like the hardest working man in show business was passing the stick to the next hardest working man in show business. And he said some things to me that was, it was funny, but it was real. He said, Snoopy, whatsoever you do, don't you ever cut your hair because your hair is your strength.
I'm weak. Thank you.
That's awesome.
I
This
got
is
a
oh,
question when
I
this
have a
you
question.
get a
I have a
sec.
question as well.
sure. This is MJ speaking. I'll go ahead and kind of divert the conversation and redirect it a little bit for myself because I'm actually really curious. So, Snoop, welcome. It's really no secret that you love your weed. Do you ever feel like your tolerance keeps increasing? And also, from a past interview, it was mentioned that you've tried something called moon rocks and stated that no one ever needs to be that high. What was the moment you realized you were too high?
Shit. Moon rocks is some other shit. The homie Corrupt started that shit. That's just some other shit. Him and Trey D, Sun rocks, moon rocks, all that shit. I don't fuck with that shit. It's too much. The moment I realized I was too high, I was with Willie Nelson on a tour in Amsterdam. We was playing dominoes and shit and spades and smoking a blunt, a vape, a volcano, and a bong, all at the same time while me and him was playing dominoes. And I had to just quit. I was like, Willie, man, let's get something to eat, man. Like yeah, I had to like get this shit over with, this shit out, nigga. Something to eat.
That's dope. Thank you for that.
You're welcome, baby.
I got one.
This-
Snoop, coming up, what was the biggest adversity that you came across and how did you overcome it?
Wow, the biggest adversity was probably losing my relationship with Death Row Records because I felt like that was a family, and I never wanted it to break up, and I never wanted us to go our separate ways. So that right there, like, really hurt my heart.
So with thinking about that, Snoop, how do you over the years, how have you learned how to balance business and friendships or even doing business with your friends? Like how have you kind of learned how to balance that relationship so that you don't end up losing personal relationships in the midst of business?
Will better my business hand and learn how to be a better businessman. So when I do business with anyone, and especially with my friends, it's a respect thing to know that, my business hand speaks for itself, and there's no more need for speculation or accusations. It's real good business. It's legit. And if you don't want to do business with me, do it with somebody else. No love lost.
Dog, quick question.
Can
This
I?
east
Oh god.
quick question, this east side dog.
What up, though?
I wanted to know what was the inspiration of getting on top of the VIP shooting the video? Was it you? Was it Calvin? How did that come apart? Cause I got a whooping going to that video shoot.
Oh, that was Fab Five Freddy directed that video. He wrote the treatment, directed it, and came up with the whole concept. I was just a young rapper that was keeping it hood with the things I was doing and saying, but I had nothing to do with the script, the treatment, and none of that shit. That was Fab Five Freddy. He was the one of the hosts on MTV. He's one of the originators of hip hop. Great director, writer, all of the above. So that was his shit.
Yeah.
Hey
Snoop
Snoop, this is actually call you. I want to ask you about the metaverse real quick if I can. Man,
Oh
it's
shit.
great to
I
Snoop
knew that was
is
me.
Snoop, it's great to talk with you. These veterans in this room in this metaverse time because I first met you at BET on Teen Summit with Lady of Rage and Danny Boy when we were both in our 20s, man. So to be here, talk with you about this metaverse and all these people you brought into the world of crypto, and how do you go about explaining the metaverse to someone who's never been in touch with it in any way?
Well, that's why I call my son Cordell because he's the head of my NFT metaverse initiatives. I don't know hardly half shit that shit. I just know where the money at. You understand me? And my son is the young player who's running and regulating and got me looking good. I'm just tapped in and I'm just communicative. So that means that in that lane, I like to be real up close and personal, like I've always been in anything that I do. So I don't really know it like that, like my son does. He's the reason for the success of all of the shit that's happening for me. He's just not taking the credit for it because he's trying to build up his IP as far as being a businessman. But in actuality, whenever I get asked that question, I got to throw it to him because I don't want to sound stupid or say nothing wrong because he is the connection to the connector.
Yeah.
It's definitely a cross generational work, man. So I would love to hear from your son how he
Yeah.
explains to someone who's some folks haven't even been on the internet, on web pages barely. So how do you explain this metaverse to some of these folks? Because you guys are bringing a lot of people into crypto right about now.
What we planning on doing is creating an agency and creating a lot of awareness so that way, more people can be in tune and understand what it's about. So we're gonna definitely do that. But like I said, look my son up, Cordell. Cordell brought us, the champ. He do his thing. He's running it, regulating it, and making it happen. He's very insightful, so he'll love to give you the information. He loves to, let people understand what it's about. And he knows how to explain it. He knows how to articulate it very well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll
So,
do that. Big up to you, Big Snoop. Thank you, Crystal, for the room. Big up, Drew High.
Chris, I got
Thank you, Pimp.
Snoop.
Yeah,
oh,
I got
shout
Snoop.
out to Druski. I'm just here hanging out, so I'm honored that Druski let me hang out with everyone. Snoop, while you were talking about your son, that actually made me think. How do you feel as a parent, like with your kids wanting to be in the industry? Did you assume that they would want to be in the industry? And was there ever any hesitation with you being such a vet and seeing the good, the bad, and the ugly of your kids, like building their own businesses and brands within the entertainment industry?
Well, I just kept it 1,000 wild with them from the beginning. I've been real with my kids since they been kids. Like, and they could tell you that, they could attest to it, that the way I talk to them, I've been talking to them like they was adults from the moment they came out, to give them understanding. And then once they decided to venture off into this industry, I gave it to them raw and uncut, like the industry would. And they didn't understand it, but I was like, the way I'm talking to you ain't half of the way the industry gonna talk. They gonna talk bad about you. They gonna say this about you because your daddy's great and you gonna have to be just as good and da 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 da. It's like, what you think Michael Jordan's son doing right now? That nigga somewhere sitting down high and spending money. He ain't trying to be no motherfucking basketball player. You know, I talk to him like that. You know what I'm saying? So they can understand that when you do get in this industry, you up against a lot. But I'm not gonna deter you. I'm just letting you know it's up. You're up against a lot.
Yeah, Snoop, this
I
is
wanted to ask you too.
Real quick,
Yeah,
Drewski, go ahead, Drewski.
Snoop, I was big. Like, I think I was like, damn, what was I? I think I was in college around this time. Yeah, it was like a couple of my first years in college, and I was big on the show Snoop and Son. And it amazed me when he did all this great work, and he had like become like the best like wide receiver that year, and one of the top like 10 best wide receivers in his class, or players in his class for high school. And then he went off and said he didn't want to play in college after he got to UCLA. Honestly, like honestly speaking, like what was your mindset wise like during that time, knowing that you like raised him and taught him a lot of like the football skills and everything he knew about the game, and of course giving him the natural talent as well. What were you thinking about around that time? Honestly speaking.
Nigga, I was mad as a motherfucker. Like, you did all this work, nigga, to get a 4-year scholarship to go to
That's a
UC.
real nigga. That's a real nigga answer right there.
Yeah, nigga, you get all it did all this work to go to a 4-year college. This ain't USCLA, man, where they care their alumni and doctors and lawyers, and you understand me? You
Right.
could, the nigga say he didn't want to play no more. So I had to respect him because the thing was he been playing for me his whole life. I was
Right.
his football coach since he was 7 years old. So he want to play for himself now. And I had to understand that taking the burden off of him and, pushing him to the limit to be an NFL star, that's my fucking dream. That ain't his
Yep.
dream. He want to be a businessman. He want to be a model. He want to be this, that. And he went and pursued it. And he's still pursuing his degree at the same time. So it's like he never gave up on school. He went to film, learned how to do film. He learned how to do modeling, marketing, branding. That's why my fucking NFT shit look like it looked,
Yep.
because this young used his mind and did shit I didn't do. I went to the 12th grade and couldn't wait to get out of school. This nigga went to the 12th grade, got a 4-year scholarship, went to UCLA, stopped playing football, but he learned the business. So I couldn't be mad at him. I had to support him. I'm his father. I ain't, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You gotta be you. You gotta live your
Yeah,
life.
I respect that. I just remember around that time how, like, even watching the show, like how serious he was about football, and he was enjoying it through your eyes. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like, it was just one of those situations where he just made a decision for himself, but it ended up
We call,
working out for the best.
yeah, we call that daddy ball when we coaching football.
Yeah,
When
man.
the dad lived through his kid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I was guilty of it. I was living through my son because I was never as good as him. I was gonna never be a high school